This is absolutely massive news, guys. Arrowhead are changing the way war bonds are being implemented in Helldivers 2, and we've got a blog to break down. But the first thing we're going to do is take a look at this. It's the trailer for the upcoming war bond, and it looks really, really sick. If you're a fan of Rambo, you're going to like the way this looks. But what is notable about this is it only contains one primary weapon, one secondary weapon, but then it's also got patterns available. Now, patterns are skins for your Hellpod, for your walkers, and for Pelican 1, so you can have like a crazy camo pattern on them. And yes, that is a shotgun secondary, and also there is a knife utility, a massive throwing knife, which just looks great. This is the type of madness that we want in Helldivers 2. So I think what we should do is go and break down this blog, because this is a massive change. Before we break down that blog post, though, I do have a video sponsor for today. So without further ado, let's roll the tape. Today's video is sponsored by Star Wars Hunters, a brand new free-to-play competitive arena combat game which focuses on player versus player action. It will be available on Nintendo Switch as well as iOS and Android platforms. The narrative unfolds in the aftermath of the Galactic Empire's demise, introducing players to an original lineup of characters that span from intrepid bounty hunters and valiant rebellion heroes to steadfast Imperial stormtroopers. Experience the thrill of 4v4 third-person battles in a setting that's as strategic as it is intense. Players can personalize their hunters with a variety of collectible gear, outfitting them with distinctive costumes, animations, and weapon styles. The game introduces a fresh roster of characters ranging from the villainous bounty hunters to the stalwart heroes of the rebellion and the loyal Imperial stormtroopers. Engage in various PvP game modes, each offering a unique challenge. Arenas are designed to bring to life the legendary locales of the Star Wars universe. Prepare for the game's arrival on Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android platforms. You can play Star Wars Hunters right now. Support me by downloading the game using the link in the video description below. Thank you once again to Star Wars Hunters for sponsoring today's video. So over on the PlayStation blog, Catherine Baskin, who is the social media and community manager for Arrowhead, so essentially for Helldivers 2, has wrote up a big post explaining what they are doing with this new warbond. Now, of course, there is a load of issues with the warbonds. The weapons feeling like trash. There only really being one useful weapon in a warbond, and then that weapon gets nerfed the next week. Doesn't feel great. And then things like very strong boosters or very strong secondaries, like I think the incendiary grenade is a really strong weapon in warbonds that you kind of maybe want or need, but that's the only thing. They're not very sort of appetizing, I think, for the players. Anyway, she breaks this down, so let's just go into this, because this is crazy. So, Liberty's greetings, Helldivers. Are you ready to learn all about the new Viper Commandos warbond? Firstly, we've been listening to your feedback as we develop our warbonds in general. The idea behind each warbond is to allow our Helldivers to roleplay their favourite soldier fantasies within our universe. But it's important that these fantasies fantasies that actually appeal to our players. Based on that input, we're changing our approach to warbonds moving forward in a couple of ways. Firstly, we're slowing down the pace at which we will release warbonds to give us a little bit more time to polish these designs before they're released. We don't want to rush anything out of the oven before it's fully baked. Massive win. This is a massive W, honestly, guys, right? They were making these warbonds too fast. It was clear they couldn't produce them at this rate. They just were unfinished, untested. They felt crap. They felt limp. This needs to be a course correction, a change, and I hope it is, because you can see what they're doing. You know, they're reducing what we're getting in this warbond, like in terms of weapons and stuff. Because like I said, we're only getting one primary weapon and one secondary. So in theory, it should allow them, I guess, to balance them a little bit easier, make them better to play with. I'll show you guys the full breakdown of everything that's in this warbond towards the end of the video, but I think it's important to just go through this blog and look at each aspect of it, and then we can come back and look at that. Secondly, we are changing the arrangement of items in each warbond to make room for new item types and also higher quality armor and weapons. This will prevent us from simply adding more of everything, which can lead to weapons that feel redundant and uninteresting armor. It's time to focus on quality over quantity. When we started researching items for Viper Commandos, we wanted to be sure we answered our players' calls for stronger theming that coordinates across all the items, more emotes, unique armor, passives, and more thoughtful designs rather than simply giving more of the same. We can't wait for players to get a hold of our latest edition. So let's dive into what is in store. And again, yes, this is exactly what we want. I mean, the last Warbond, it was stupid. Like, it's supposed to be an ice Warbond. There was no ice effects on any of the stuff. Armor that had literal spikes in the boots gave you no advantage running on ice or on ice maps. It was just stupid. Made no sense. There was a massive disconnect. Think jungle, think swamp, think about a hot, humid trek through an untamed marshy wilderness to do reconnaissance and some unliberated scum. If you ask me, this is our strongest theme Warbond yet, with Helldivers equipped from head to boots with the finest tools to live out their jungle combat dreams. What kind of tools, you ask? The items in the Viper Commando set really sell that fantasy of up close and personal. For a primary, we're giving you a new version of the Liberator, the AR-23A Liberator Carbine. But this one has a modified, shortened form factor that handles differently from the True Classic, with a bit higher recoil, but faster handling that feels perfect for spraying and praying up close. Okay, so a faster firing, sort of faster target acquisition version of the Liberator. Yeah, cool. You can combine carrying that with the new SG-22 Bushwhacker triple barrel sawed-off shotgun with 2 different firing modes, including one that fires all 3 barrels at once. What? Yes, you read that right. This shotgun is a secondary weapon, meaning you can equip your favorite AR primary or your favorite shotgun primary and keep the Bushwhacker handy for close encounters, I guess of the third kind, considering it's got 3 barrels. So let's move on to armor. And the armors are nothing short of inspired. Catch me in the PH-9 Predator, inspired by a veteran of the Viper Commandos, who was said to have held off an entire Terminid brood with nothing but a machine gun, pocket knife, orbital laser. The headpiece has a beret and it looks devastatingly cool when combined with the mark of the Crimson Fang cape. We also have the PH-202 or 202 Twig Snapper for your jungle heavy, which looks awesome with the Executioner's canopy cape, although mixing and matching works great for both of these sets. Both armors in this Warbond feature the perk Physique passive, which improves melee damage and weapon handling. They both also feature bare arms and bulging biceps with a variety of randomized skin tones to keep you sweat-free when diving in the humid atmosphere. Sounds great, right? I mean, this... We've seen from the screenshots, like, it is literally just, this is Predator, it's Commando, it's Rambo, it's all of them kind of fantasies smashed together. And the armor, to be fair, does look really good. The other good news takeaway here is that it's, there's a new passive, and the passive is consistent on the armors as well. So what about patterns? Well, this is their first step into actual skins. And like I said, the Pelican is skinnable, drop pods are skinnable, so hell pods, and the walkers are skinnable, but this could lead to more things having more skins on them in the future. And they say this: patterns, boosters, and more. Another exciting addition to this Warbond is the new skins for your hell pods, exosuits, and Pelican 1, inspired by the classic woodland and tiger stripe camouflage patterns. This pushes that customizable fantasy just a little bit further for a really cohesive look for your squad. And yeah, I think this is great. And honestly, I think giving these kind of like textures or patterns that you can apply to armor, and especially the walkers and stuff, I think will add a lot to this. And it's probably a very easy thing to do in the Warbond, and it makes the Warbond feel a bit more unique as well. So instead of just going after weapons, you can go after things that are like, you know, customizable. We all like playing dress up, right? You know, so yeah, good change. Now this just looks crazy. Look at this knife. One of my things, I think maybe one of my favorite things that we're missing out here. One of my favorite things in Viper Commandos is our new utility item, the throwing knife. Imagine mowing down a crowd of Terminids and running out of ammo with only 1 bug remaining. No time to reload, so you dive backwards and throw a hunting knife into its carapace right before it descends on you. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to use this. I can't imagine this is going to be stupidly powerful. It would be funny if it is. It would be funny if you could, like, one-shot charges, throw it into the head. I mean, honestly, come on, Arrowhead. That would be incredible. But yeah, it's a throwing knife. Now, these items are like... This is exactly the type of stupidness you want in Helldivers. I mean, the armor looks sick anyway. Look at that mask. It looks incredible. But, like, honestly, just throwing a knife... We've all seen the scene in Predator, haven't we, where the guy pulls the knife across his chest and he's like, let's go, and then the Predator just kills him. This is what we want, but let's go, and it's not the Predator. It's like, let's go against the Hive Commander or Brood Commander, and he just annihilates us. Amazing. There's also a new booster called Experimental Infusion, which gives your stims the added bonus of boosting your movement speed and reducing the damage you take for a short time. Now, that's really cool to me because that you can use it as like, as you go into a fight, you could like stim up and run in, and that's great. That's giving you another dynamic way of using the stim rather than using it in a reactive defensive way. You can use it in a reactive offensive way. That's really cool. We've also got capes, player cards, and emotes too. Check the rest of the items in the Viper, Commandos, Warbond. And again, a nice look there at the 2 different armor types they've got in. But like them having them arms out, it just looks sick. And it's like, let's go. Okay, so let's take a look at everything involved in this, or in fact included in this Warbond. So you've got 2 armor sets. I think, to be honest, the one with the beret looks sick to me. I mean, that looks incredible. That helmet, I think I'm just going to use that. As soon as that's available to unlock, I'm going to use that. This looks sick, and this is exactly what I want from this game. And like they said, you know, this is like living up to a soldier fantasy, and this is very clearly the Arnie and Predator fantasy, the Stallone Rambo fantasy, which is not in the game at the moment, which I think is really cool. And like, I want this. Like, I'm hyped for this Warbond more so than I have been for any other Warbond. Easily, like honestly, easily. You've got 2 weapons. The primary weapon, we'll have to wait and see, you know, if that's actually any good or whatever. The secondary weapon, okay, fine. But again, going back to what they're trying to do, I think, is shift away from it just being about the weapons. So if the weapons are maybe not crazy powerful, then it doesn't really matter, because this Warbond, I mean, you're going in this maybe for the patterns, right? You want the skins for the Pelican, for the Hellpod, for the Walkers. That's sick. But what about the utilities? Okay, we don't have a grenade, but we've got a throwing knife instead. That's just stupid and funny. Give it me. You know, Experimental Infusion. Sounds really good as a booster as well. 300 super credits, obviously, yeah, you just get those anyway. Or do you? Was it 300 credits in the Warbond? Maybe it wasn't, actually. No, I think it was, right? I can't remember, guys. Anyway, player banners, capes, emotes, and then also a player title. Viper Commando. This is much better. Much better as an offering for a Warbond, because there's things you're going to want to chase after here that are not just, okay, is this weapon strong? Okay, I need this weapon because it's now meta, it's OP. This is a much needed adjustment, and honestly, I'm fully behind them trying to do this. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I think this could be big. So yeah, this Warbond, it looks good. There's a change in item types. There's a change in the way they're delivering items to us. There's less items as well. But hopefully that should mean they're better quality. And yeah, we just go from here and we just see what they manage to do. Like, remember, the big thing as well is Warbonds are going to slow down in their deployment. They haven't announced how that is going to sort of affect the game. Like, is it going to be a month and a half, 2 months for a Warbond, or is it just going to be 6 weeks, which I guess would be a month and a half instead of the 1 month cycle they're on? We're not sure yet. They've actually said on Twitter, as of literally recording this video, that they are not sure yet, but they will announce at some point when they are going to what the new updated cadence will be. All right, guys, I'm going to leave the video at that. Yeah, this looks really good. This looks really good. Good job, Arrowhead. Can't wait to try this. And yeah, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.